Hi, my name's Jeff. A lot of you probably know me. We spend a lot of time together out on the track, and well, we have. It's been good. It's been fun. Hope to see you out there this season. Today we're going to do a little skit on Modify Your Modified. Just a few things, you know, to hopefully help people out, and we can share some information. If you see something I'm doing wrong, or you think I should change, make things better, let me know. I'll be tickled to death to change it. This wheel right here, you can tell we've got some damage to the wheel several places. I don't worry too much about that because it's got tubes in it. I think it's a KR1415. Really fits nice into these things, and it'll keep this thing from rolling off the bead. And if you hit the wall or get tangled up with somebody, and we can damage the tire, even poke a hole in it, and there's always a chance that that tube's going to seal up and be all right with any luck. But every little bit helps. And today, on top of that, we're going to go over a little bit on the motor mounts. I made just a small change that I think is going to make a big difference, and show you a little bit of information on the fuel lines and the setup. There's not much there, but again, every little change for the better is helpful. I ended up with several times over the years, motor mounts would, you know, vibrate loose and end up breaking a fuel pump. You can see this one right here. This is from a few years back. We just broke the bottom right off of it because that motor mount bolt got loose, and it just came apart. The engine rocked, and the next thing you know, you're broke off, and you know, just kind of ruins the night. It's happened more than once to me. It's happened to several people, and it's just one of the pitfalls. But if you take this motor mount bolt and you drill a hole into it, like so, like you can see that, and just put a cotter key into it. I was going to put a castle nut on, but Fastenal didn't have any castle nuts available. We've got a few on order, and that'll help fix that. And there's the fuel line. I'm going to take that 45 off and put a 90 on it, and you notice the line comes right up to the pump, and there's no real slack here, but in the back, right back there, you can see that's a service loop. You just put just a little curve into it when you come off of your filter, and you can cut those zip ties and slide it forward. Sometimes you don't even have to cut the zip ties. If they're just loose enough, you can slide the whole line forward, and they give you an extra 6 inches or so. In this case, I only need probably 3, but we'll use every bit of it. Let's see, what else? These tabs right here, those are for mufflers. Some of the tracks we race at, they require mufflers, and rather than tacking the mufflers in and then cutting the tacks to pull it out, you just get these little tabs. I think Speedway sells them. They're only a couple dollars a piece, and you weld them onto your header and then weld the other half onto the muffler, and you can just unbolt it and bolt it right back on. It's a really nice setup. Right in there you can see, probably see that's a 3-speed Saginaw transmission. I know everybody else runs direct drives, which is great unless you have a budget. You have to save up your pennies and dimes for that direct drive, Burt or Bryn. You can run that Saginaw, but what you have to do is change this output shaft. I took both of them in and had Jim Cameron mill them down. You see right here, this is the end of the splines, and the shaft actually needs to be milled back. I just told him to mill it back to where that bearing used to be. The bushing used to be right there. You can see it. I just had him mill it back to there, and that's fine. Something important you'll have to do, though, if you go with this Saginaw setup and you have it milled back, you got a 4-bar car. 2-bar car, you don't generally have to have that far back. But the 4-bar cars,
you get your slip yoke in there. You have to have like a 7 or an 8-inch slip yoke. And you get your drive shaft in, and you jack that car all the way up, and you rotate that rear end as far forward as you can get it. And you want to make sure that that slip yoke doesn't hit that knurled edge right there, because if you do, you're going to damage your transmission. You get that fully forward, and if it doesn't hit, then you're fine. But if it does, you just cut the end off of your yoke, off of your slip yoke. And when you get that done, it should clear just fine. The way you have to do that, if you're not sure and it's close and you want to be sure, you take your slip yoke and take a marker, a paint stick, and you go around your slip yoke on the front and the back, and then take a line down like the top side and the bottom side, so you have two lines going from the front to the back of your slip yoke, one on each side of it, and then a ring around it. And when you put it in there, as that slip yoke moves back and forth, it's going to rub the paint off there at your final seal on your tail shaft. It'll rub the paint off, and then you can drop the drive shaft down out of the car, pull the slip yoke out, and you can see exactly where it's been running, and then take a tape measure and measure it out. Make sure it's not too long. It's probably not going to be too short. You'll probably be right on, but too long is devastating. Too short can be as well. You can spit the drive shaft out of the car like I did and tear up the X and have to do all kinds of work to the car. But Saginaw transmission works just fine. We're going to try to go to a direct drive in a year, so just it's not important to us. And we'll get a fan shroud built for this. We're going to have Dustin Bodie build the fan shroud, because that's just not something that I'm talented enough to do. You got to do a real good job at building those fan shrouds. But if there's anything else that y'all have any questions with, or any suggestions that you have to offer, I'm open to all of it. And thank you for your time, and we'll see you out on the track.